Hi everyone, it's me Issaplease and welcome back to my channel. So as you can tell, there are a little bit of changes in the mood. I am also not pregnant anymore and based on the title of this video, you already know that I am going to be talking about my child giving or childbirthing experience. This is also a little bit different because I am going full mama mode. I have the baby here. We have the sound machine on. I am also folding clothes at the moment, so it's been fun. I felt like it was important for me to share my story because mine is a little bit unique in some ways, but also it's not uncommon. Just in case you've never heard this story before, at least you know it exists because it happened to me. And I also think that pregnant women and our partners should hear stories like this so that we know what the different possibilities are when you give birth. It kind of gives you more information so you're not as anxious, you're prepared, and so on and so forth. Anyways, let's get straight into it. In the previous video, I shared that I went into premature labor a couple of times. That was at 34 weeks. The first time, and then the second time when I was actually admitted into the hospital. Now, I'm very proud to say that I conquered the 2 weeks of bed rest and I did make it to 37 weeks. I did also, however, go through labor 5 times. So that was kind of fun. Let's talk about the third time that I went into labor, since I already documented the first 2 times that I went into labor. But basically what happened was, prior to me getting completely off my medications, I was on a drug called progesterone. Now what progesterone does, and I talked about it in the previous vlog, is it kind of arrests the labor, or it prolongs it. I turned 37 weeks on a Monday. So the Saturday of that, I was also feeling a little bit of contractions. I had told my doctor about it and she basically said, oh, okay, well, if you're feeling a little bit of contractions, let's just extend your medications instead of until Sunday to Monday evening, instead of just completely being off it on Sunday. So I was like, okay, doc, sige. So we bought more progesterone and that was that. On the exact day that I turned 37 weeks, I experienced labor again. So this time it was complete with, the whole closely timed contractions, and then it was also accompanied by the pain in my lower back and so on and so forth. So this happened at around 6 o'clock in the morning, and then I texted my doctor. He's waking up. First she was like, okay, you can go to the hospital if you want. My medicine was due at 8. So I texted her, I was like, doc, do I still take my progesterone if I'm going into labor? Like, I don't know what to do because you extended my medication. My OB didn't reply right away. She actually replied like 2 hours later and I was already at the hospital. But I freaked out and was thinking, your doctor put you on your medication, she gave you a time, you should still take the medications. So I took the medication, I took my progesterone, and I headed off to the hospital. The moment I got in the labor room, my contractions completely stopped. And that is because I had taken the progesterone and the progesterone worked. So we were sent home, only to find out that my doctor actually did not want me to take the progesterone again. Now, because I had already reached full term, then I got the instructions to get completely off the progesterone, and that our goal now was to no longer arrest the labor but to encourage it. So I was now told to start walking and just doing everything in my power that I can to actually start the contractions. The 4th time I experienced contractions, what happened was I woke up one morning and I had the worst diarrhea and vomiting. and it was so bad, and we actually don't know how that happened, and that actually triggered my contractions, and it was so bad that I actually was gonna go to the hospital, but something in me told me that, like, no, this isn't the baby coming yet, like I can still hold off and stuff like that. And we did, but it was pretty painful. It lasted like from 6 a.m. to, I'd say, like 3 in the afternoon, but it eventually went away, and we were able to manage my contractions, and it never really got to like super consistent anyways. They were always like 5 to 8 minutes apart, but it did open up my cervix. So the fifth and the last time actually is quite interesting, because this time my labor and my contractions happened way later. On November 11, I woke up and I went to the bathroom, as we usually do when we wake up. Hi, baby. I went to the bathroom, I peed, I wiped, and there was blood on the tissue. I mean, if you've done your research, if you're pregnant, that is one of the signs that you are really about to give birth. Obviously, again, called up my doctor, showed her photos, and then they were like, okay, yeah, you are really about to give birth, whether today or tomorrow. It was pretty interesting because the contractions did not come, but at this point I kind of felt like, oh my gosh, I've had contractions 5 times already, I've been through this, maybe the pain just doesn't hurt anymore, maybe I just don't know what contractions feel like. I'm so confused because I wasn't sure and I wasn't feeling so confident in myself. Hi, baby. Hmm? The baby is finally asleep. So as I was saying earlier, at this point, I really didn't know what a contraction felt like anymore. I feel like because I had gone through it so many times, I kind of got immune to it. So I wasn't really feeling pain, but my stomach was starting to get tight again, but there was pain, but I wasn't sure at this point. In the evening, our family doctor, who is also my sister-in-law, she came over at around like 10 or 11, and she gave me an internal exam, or an IE, and checked how many centimeters my cervix was open and how my contractions are doing.
Inhale, open your mouth. Open your mouth, para di ka magsakit sa akong pamot. Okay. Just open your mouth para ma-relax.
My vagina mouth or my mouth mouth?
Your mouth.
Oh.
You have to open it. Relax. Okay, kamay lang. Kamay lang. Okay, 1, open.
Wait.
Sige. Kamay lang. Okay, wait. Okay, ha? You have to look for your inlet. Oh, it's here. Hiwi siya. Okay, 1, 2, 3, actually 4 to 5 na pa. May ha? Sorry.
That's okay.
Really?
Yeah.
4 to 5?
Ano na siya?
Whoa.
Just 4 to 5.
How big? How big is it?
Oh, it's about 4 to 5. I can
Wow.
feel the head already. It's here. Okay, 1. Inhale. 1, 2, 3. Go. Inhale. Open your mouth para relaxin mo ang vagina. Di siya mo-contract na po. Okay, relax. Yeah, it's the head already. This one is the head already. This one is. This is the head. Sige, mag-wait na lang po na imong contraction mo regular. Mo regular na ganun na, then you can go.
Oh.
I-wheelchair siya.
Actually, the parents will not. Oh, is. Maabot na gani ko 6 gani. If I stretch it so much. 4 to 5 na ni is. Yeah, is. Gistor-storyaan lang ni mo.
So wala kaya pa 11-11.
Oh.
Napay gamay ha is. I'm just gonna do this one, okay?
Okay.
I'm just gonna wring it out, okay?
Okay.
Okay, tell me if it hurts. Okay, this one lang. Hi,
I don't
North.
feel anything.
Okay, this one. Already padapli ng mga membrane. Baga pa imuhang cervix actually, but the opening is already there. Okay? So, 1, again. 1, 2, 3, 4 to 5 into this. Okay, I'm gonna go out. Okay, that's it.
You touched mine.
How does it feel?
Oh, at the bell just
How does it feel? How does it
Where's your
feel?
tissue? I'll give you a tissue. Asan yung tissue?
So she stayed a bit, timed my contractions, and she was like, oh, okay, you know what? You had a bloody show. You are having contractions. You are dilated even more. But you're not really having regular contractions. So why don't you just go to the hospital tomorrow morning, whether or not the contractions pick up. But then a few minutes after she told me that, I started feeling pain. And I was like, oh my goodness, it's starting to hurt. And then she was like, oh, okay, you know what? If it's starting to hurt, let's go to the hospital. We coordinated with my OB, and they both agreed to send me to the hospital. And yeah, I ended up going right then and there. I got to the labor room. I was checked in. There were no rooms for my husband, so he had to go home. There was no way for me to communicate with him, so I just slept the whole night. I woke up at around 6 in the morning. Apparently, while I was sleeping, I was getting really, really strong contractions, but I just slept through the whole thing. Like, I legit didn't seem bothered at all. And apparently, the doctor who was in charge, who was my friend from the last time, was like, it's pretty interesting that you never felt any of your really strong contractions. Like, you had them all throughout the night, but you were just sleeping. And I was like, what? I really didn't feel anything. I think I got to 6 centimeters and I was still at negative station 3. My doctor came and she was like, alright, Issa, we're doing this. We're bursting your bag of water. I did have an agreement prior to childbirth and everything with my doctor that I did want to get an epidural. And so she asked me, she was like, okay, would you prefer that we give an epidural before we burst your bag of water or after? And I told her that I would prefer to get the epidural before they burst my bag of water. But somehow she convinced me. She was like, you know what? I think we should just burst it now because I think you can handle it. You've been having really strong contractions and madrawing pa man imong naong. So kaya ra siguro. She was like, di ka masakitan. It's really weird. Di ka masakitan. So feel ako, kaya ra nimo nga ibuto na to imong bag of water and then get the epidural. And I was like, if it makes this thing any faster, okay, because I want to get out of the labor room already. I want to see my babe. So the anesthesiologist comes in, or the residents come in, and lo and behold, they are my classmates since I was in prep. Well, maybe not classmates, so they're my batchmates from kindergarten up until like first year high school, and we still hung out like even after college. Shout out to Lian and to Yvette. I was so surprised because they were the resident anesthesiologists, and I was like, oh my goodness, I really cannot believe they did the epidural on me when the senior arrived. And it was just like, it was actually quite comforting again to have people that you know there. Like, you were laughing, we were joking, and then next thing I knew, I got an epidural, and like, I really didn't feel it actually. So I think there's something wrong with me. I really can't feel anything good. Maybe like sobraan ko inom, daghan kay bino akong lawas nga di na jud ko kapamati og sakit. So eventually, the epidural started kicking in, and I was having shivers, which is apparently a common thing when you get an epidural. You will get shivers, and I shivered a lot. After a few minutes, my OB then told me that we were gonna have practice push-ups. This is actually the part of the story that gets kinda sucky. So we started pushing at around 1 o'clock, and then I had a hard time pushing because apparently when you give birth, the way you push is it's as if nalibang ka og tubol. And in my case, I don't really get tubol a lot, so I don't really know how to libang a tubol. Also, I don't really know how to push tae out because I don't sit on a toilet and wait for my poop to come out. I'm one of those people that waits until my poop is like crowning and then I'll go to the bathroom. So I didn't really know how to push. My very first pushes, however, were great, but the baby didn't go down. And then eventually I just kind of lost my footing. It got really difficult because I had to do it in very different positions. I would push left side lying, right side lying. I would do it supine. I was just trying to push in every direction. And at this point, my doctor was like, what position could you possibly do on this bed that would get your baby out? And I was like, I just want to stand up. And she's like, no, you can't do that. I was like, I don't know what to fucking do anymore. And I just really had a hard time pushing. So I started pushing at 1, and then this was around like 3 o'clock. My doctor said, we've been pushing for 2 hours. You can only really push for 3 hours. So I'm going to give you 1 more hour to try pushing. And if your baby doesn't come down, then we're going to have to give you a C-section. We're going to have to do a C-section on you. And at this point, I really started crying because at first it was all fun. Like, I was like, I got this. And then after a while of constantly pushing and your baby not going down and you trying your hardest and like you're shaking, and I was literally shaking at this point. Like, it kind of gets to you, like, what am I not doing right? What am I doing wrong? Like, is my baby okay? I just want him out. I want him to be fine. If I do this for too long, you know, he might have a hard time breathing, or like his heart rate might go down. So it kind of got serious pretty quick. I remember breaking down at one point. I was lying on my side, crying and telling the doctor, I'm really sorry, but I'm really trying, and I'm sorry if it's not good enough. But she came up to me, she's like, no, it's okay, Is. We know you're trying. We can see you're trying. You pooped 4 times. So you're obviously trying. Because I did poop 4 times. Every time I poop, they're like, oh, there's poop, that's good. And I'd be like, oh my god, I'm so sorry. And they're like, no. Don't be sorry. It's good when poop comes out because that means you're pushing right. So don't feel bad. But I felt so bad. So at around 4 o'clock, my second dose of epidural was running out. I could feel the pain everywhere. Mo na gitong time nga, di na gid madrawing ako now. And my doctor said, he's not coming down. We're gonna have to perform a C-section on you. At this point, I was so exhausted. I was so tired. I remember my last push, I felt every single pain. And I was like, fuck this shit, man. Just get him out. Just cut me open. And then I think I fell asleep. We fade out good ko. And then the next thing I knew, they're like, okay, prepare the operating room. And then they wheeled me into the operating room. I swear to God, I thought I had already died and entered heaven because the operating room at the hospital where I gave birth was sky blue with really big tulips all around the walls. And I was like, am I in heaven? Is like heaven a garden? I don't like flowers. Why are there flowers in heaven? So, moto kong feeling. But then like they wheeled me in, put me on the table. Apparently I was not dead. They put me in this position, and then they like tied up my arms. So that, like, there's a reason why they do that, so that you don't like, you know what I mean. And then I got a lot of drugs after that. I still have bruises and like tapes in weird places on my body 2 weeks after I gave birth. I don't remember getting cut up, honestly, because I was so tired. I was asleep, I think. I know they say you're not supposed to be asleep when they do a C-section on you, but I really fell asleep good. I remember waking up and my classmate, Yvette, was behind me. I was like, what's going on? What's happening na? And then she's like, they're cutting through the layers of fat in your body to get to the baby. And I was like, okay, like, is the baby okay? And I'm like, yeah, the baby's fine. Like, he's perfect. Like, there's nothing wrong. So I was like, okay. So I just faded out again. For some reason, I was so afraid that I wouldn't make it I wouldn't be awake when the baby came out. But timing lang good nga. I woke up na the baby was coming out of me. And so Hugh came out, and then the next thing I heard was the time. I have been advised not to tell the time of when he was born. So let's say he was born at 6 o'clock. Everyone, what I heard was 6 o'clock, 6 o'clock. Like everyone was shouting, 6 o'clock, 6 o'clock. And I was like, oh. And then I heard the most beautiful cry I had ever heard in my life. And it was my son. And he was born. Oh my god. So yeah, he was born, and then they wiped him up, and then they put him beside me. I saw his beautiful face. Sus guapo kayo. Grabe. Ay, I really love him so much. And then they showed him to me, and they let me kiss him. And my classmates took photos of it. So he came out on November 12, 2021 via Csection. I know it's really corny to say that like it's love at first sight, but I just fell in love with him so much. And then they took him away because they had to sew me back up. And I just remember smelling burnt baboy, which is really how it smells like. And then I just fell asleep because I was so exhausted. That's the story of how our son was born. And we named him Nolan Perez Gandyonko. And he is the sweetest thing in the entire world. And I love him so much. He's here. I'll insert some videos of him that I took when he woke up in between this video. Oh, whoa, whoa. E-I, E-I, oh, whoa, whoa. Oh, McDonald. Show everyone your face. Hi, everyone. It's me, Nolan Gandyonko. Hi, everyone. Hi. Hi, everyone. Hi. It's the handsome Nolan. It's the handsome boy. Say hi. Say hi, everyone. Why am I so mestizo? Who do I look like? Who are my parents? So for those who are wondering why I had to get the C-section, it turns out that I have CPD, cephalopelvic disproportion. In short, means that my pelvis is too small to accommodate a head of a baby. And because I had pushed my baby so hard, Nolan actually ended up with cone head for the first day of his life. Eventually it went away and he has like perfectly shaped head now. But that also means because I have CPD that I can never really give birth normally. So that limits me to having 2 to 3 or maybe even 4 kids. It depends. My doctor couldn't really give me an answer yet because I had gone into full labor. She'll find out the next pregnancy, which if I ever decide to get pregnant again, might be in like a couple years from now. So then we'll finally have our answers. I am currently in recovery for my C-section. I did actually want to show you guys what my scar looked like. Unfortunately, I can't. I just came from the doctor and I have been placed back on antibiotics because it's not healing properly because I kind of screwed up. I'll talk about it later because I don't feel like talking about it yet. I am very grateful for having the experience of both going into labor, pushing for 3 hours, and eventually having to give birth via C-section. It's a learning and it's a humbling experience. Would I do it again? I really don't know. So yeah, that was my birthing story. Today North is 2 weeks old and he's just the best thing that's ever happened to us. We are so happy. I would love to talk more about the whole motherhood experience with you guys. So feel free to ask me questions. I'll see you guys soon. And thanks for sticking around and thanks for listening to my story. Hope you guys like this video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow me on all my socials. That's Issaplease. And check out my other videos if you want as well. Don't forget, knowledge is power. See you. Bye.
Hi, Papa. Then this is our room, but we're moving to a bigger room later. There's barely anything to video. This is me. Me in my diapers. And there's no more baby now. No more baby. Pao? Paulo? Paulo? Ikaw pa yung okay ko sa kumpay.
Likod lang sa mo. Basta yung kanina.
Bukod. Naamot na yung anak. Sige, pagtawag mo.